Hey, everybody. We are in what session is 8?
Hey,
Hey,
We are at session 8. Oh my goodness.
like
So,
7.5, 7.5
yeah,
almost.
7.5 because we're continuing the conversation. And then, but actually, it's 7.5 into 8 because I kind of want to introduce a new kind of subject while we're talking about what we were talking about before. So,
okay.
the topic from session 7 was how do we settle into or excel in our roles as a wife, mother, or etc. What does your evolution look like? Your growth. What does that look like for you? So I wanted to say some things because over the past month, we've been having an issue with Logan in school. And one of the things about my growth and evolution and what I would like for it to look like in becoming the flower I am is being able to take up for myself, to speak up, and verbalize how I feel, and be clear in what I'm saying without the emotion behind it. So the reason why I brought up Logan was because there was a situation we had to have an emergency IEP meeting, and I was really, really, really nervous because I wasn't sure, am I doing too much, or am I helicopter momming, and then I was second guessing myself. But after I prayed about it, I thought about it, I was really glad that I went on, and I had the meeting. Dia came with me, which was awesome. But I was able to verbalize what I was saying or how I was feeling without being angry. Because I was pissed at first, don't get me wrong. So I was like, I'm finna go in there and we gonna do this. But really, to be honest, if you want to be heard, and you want to be understood on a level that you can move forward and still be respected, sometimes you got to take that anger out of it. And I felt like that was a really good thing to kind of bring up as far as like what your evolution looks like, because that's what mine looks like. My initial reaction to everything is what? Tear all this shit up like every time. But I'm learning to, not do that because it doesn't solve anything. So I just want to make sure I said that. But
That's
so
That's
how you
good.
guys
good.
doing?
That
It's
is
like
good.
not speaking through your feelings, like just speaking through facts. Like
Facts.
what
Right,
needs to happen is, and
right.
you can say how you feel about it, but you don't have to like act out your feelings about it. So you could be mad and say that you're mad, but you ain't gotta act like you mad. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
And
I
I
used
think
to
people
have.
hear you better. I think people hear you better when you're calm,
Mhm.
clear, and concise.
I agree. Whenever somebody's yelling at me, like the instant, or you get an attitude, whatever the case may be, my instinct is, okay, this how we gonna act. Okay, let's get this popping. But it doesn't always have to be that. And I feel like that's such an important thing about growth and understanding of yourself, because with your growth and everything, at the end of the day, you just want to be heard. You want to be heard, you want to be understood, and you don't want to be misunderstood because you've acted in a certain way that really wasn't going to resolve that issue. So I was glad that I was able to reel it on in, because even sitting in there the first 10 minutes, I was like
But look,
trying.
just imagine how scary you come across when you're like this. I'm so angry right now. They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
I know. No, in
they
real
gonna be like,
life,
you're gonna be like, you
this
have
is
no idea how
crazy.
angry I am. That's
Yes.
like scarier for real. They probably be like about to clutch your pocketbook, like
Right. What
you
she
real
finna do?
calm to be really angry.
It's funny you say that. Mommy has always said, people don't know if I'm playing until I start laughing. So I could, I probably couldn't imagine, going in there like, I'm angry. We're gonna have this conversation. And this is what I'm finna say. Like, I would be shaking in my boots, like, what she finna do? But I think
Mhm.
that it's not, it doesn't have to be so stoic, I guess either. It's just okay, look, we're gonna have this conversation because this is how I feel. It was not right. And this is how I feel like we're gonna move forward in the discussion. But
There are some people who like feel like though that they can't be heard unless they are acting a fool, and or that showing violence or exhibiting violence really helps them get their message across even better. I don't think that's the truth. I think that in all ways of communicating, um, speaking through violence doesn't solve anything. If I'm mad at you and I slap the shit out of you, I'm still gonna be mad at you after I slap the shit out of you. So like, what's the point? Like,
Right.
I'm always want to have conversations that's gonna move us in the right direction, because fighting or arguing doesn't.
Right.
And I say,
A
okay,
lot of
so
times.
with my okay, y'all probably know this about me, but many people don't. So I shared this with my team at work that like in my 40, how old am I?
44.
43,
We're
44.
even this
In my
year. Yeah.
44 years of life, like I've never been in a physical altercation ever. And that is an intentional choice. Like I choose peace. I choose to communicate in a healthy manner. I mean, I done been in some arguments, don't get me wrong, but I just have never not like somebody enough to actually beat them up or want to hurt people in any kind of way.
I imagine it a
Unfortunately,
lot.
but look, unfortunately though, like people see that as a weakness and not as a strength. Like, I see it as a strength. I feel like
I
I'm
see it
like
as a strength too. That's powerful.
emotionally strong. But when I told my team that at work, they were like, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And I'm like,
I
yeah,
mean, you
but
really
how does
do.
that make anything better? How does
Mhm.
it how will I get my way if I'm just focusing on the violence and trying to fight? That's not me getting my way. If I need to let off some steam, I'm gonna go work out, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends or drink, or you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna do something other than make the situation worse.
I get that. I mean, I think about that a lot too, like in marriage. Because you get frustrated with your husband. I know I do. I'm looking at him like, man, look, all these scenarios going through my mind, like one of these is finna happen. But I've learned that as well, that um effective communication always works best. And then when you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm done with this situation, I like to feel like, okay, well, at least I was clear enough in communicating how I felt. How he received it is on him. But I know I wasn't yelling. I didn't say it in a negative way. There wasn't anything going on that would distract him from the point. So I got my point across. I'm moving on. And it's not just marriage, but any aspect. That's how I'm kind of looking at things now. I should be able to effectively communicate.
But
So,
sometimes though, oh, go ahead, Nisha.
so if I can remember correctly, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever gotten into a physical altercation with the female. I've been very blessed in picking my circles very wisely. And I'm just the type that observes situations before I like jump in them, I guess. Like I can tell some people's auras don't mix with mine, so I'll just avoid them or whatever the case may be. I don't really interact with people that I already know that they not for me. But now some boys, I have beat up many boys. As the oldest child, I was the sister that was running outside barefoot to fight. I have fought many boys, so I do have some nice skills in that. But I've never for real gotten angry with other females. But dudes somehow be ready to make me pop off.
Do
But
you think that's a gender kind of language? Like, do you think that guys or some guys understand physical aggression better than they understand words?
I don't know. I mean, I was defending my brothers and stuff. As far as like arguing with like my husband, I only argue if I'm right. Because I know I'm gonna win. Like otherwise,
All the time, though, right?
it is like it is. Like I only argue if like my point is right. Like if you need to understand my point. And then usually, like I said, I'm right, and then they be like, "Dang, you was right." I know. Which is why I don't get angry. Like I just be like, "Okay, don't believe me or whatever." But my first instinct when I'm really angry is I'm more of a shutdown person first. Like I get quiet first. I get quiet and I process all my own emotions and feelings first before now if you sit in there and you're like poking me like, why are you quiet, what's wrong, whatever, then
Yeah.
you're gonna get some probably really rough reaction, but it's more out of irritation, like leave me alone. But my first instinct is to shut down. I just shut down and I get quiet. And then
Drees, what's your first
everybody in the
instinct?
house know I'm mad, because then I'd be like slamming counters and stuff though. I'd be in the kitchen like doing
Do
everything
you
loud.
laugh sometimes when you argue? Like,
No, but Daniel
do.
does.
like
He
I'm just
smirks.
saying, I be
He kind of
laughing.
smirks and laughs. Kyron, my son, when he's getting in trouble, he smirks and laughs, and it makes me want to choke him because I'm like, this is funny. And he's like, no, but he's laughing and smirking. But I guess that's his coping mechanism. I don't know.
That's how, like, if we were to argue or something like that, I'd be like, for real, like pissed. But I always end up laughing. I don't know why. I think it is just, like a coping mechanism, because in my body, I'm like boiling.
Because in your mind,
but you know they say like the real crazy ones, like you laugh, then that mean like you just don't know. So you better back up, cause
right.
I'm a laugher. I'm a laugh. I'm a be like, well, no, you know what I do? I speak slow so that you can
Yeah,
understand
did talk to you
me.
like you stupid. Well,
No, I only have to do that in professional situations where I have to start talking slow. But that's because my mouth gets so foul, like my cuss words and stuff. So I have to talk slow so that my brain can filter. Like my brain be like, not that word, not that word either. Nope, don't use that one. So I have to talk slow so my brain is like getting all the good words. I'm filtering, so.
I don't think like that. Like when I'm mad, and then like when I'm mad, sometimes, like, you know how you come back with, like, when you think about it, when you review the argument in your head, like, damn, I should have said that.
Yeah.
I never have the comebacks. Like in the moment, I can say every cuss word in the book, but then after it's like, I should have said that.
Man, I remember one time I was trying to like cuss out someone who Jerice knows, but it went horribly wrong. You can do so much better, okay? Like it was so stupid. I was like, I wish I could channel like Anisha or Kayla. She'd be
Look,
real
Kayla,
good.
look, I'm about to say, Kayla,
That's Jerice's
I
best friend,
love to
Kayla.
hear a good talk fucking from Kayla, because baby, she's a professional. Like, and
I
she throw
wish
in all the little funny jabs on top of it all. Like, I
the
love
bad
her
one
to be
just
on.
between you.
He said the jail jab, son. The little
Yeah, spanking people with her words. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You need to be a better person, okay? You can do better.
Loves you.
I am not a fighter. I'm not an arguer. Let's talk about it so we can fix it. And that's the evolution of me from going to just not saying anything at all to at least speaking from a healthy place.
Yeah, because I think that it helps with stress too. Because I notice, like, when I get angry like that, and I feel like I have not communicated the way that I wanted to, then I start to like feel it in my body building up, and it lingers. I hold grudges, so that's another thing I'm working on too. I hold grudges. I'm terrible at it. So I feel like when I effectively communicate, I'm heard. Look, however they receive is however they receive it. But I have to release that energy out. So as I'm talking, I'm using words purposefully so that I can release that energy as well. Now, sometimes it doesn't work. There are certain situations where it's like, look, I'm going to be pissed at you. And every time I'm around you, we going to have a problem. But, I mean, it is what it is.
I'm a grudge holder too, but I just word it as like, because I usually say something to like make the grudge permanent, right? So for me, I word it as I'm just keeping my word. I'm just true to my word. I'm not really like holding a grudge. I'm just true to my word. So I even hold a grudge against Raina, y'all, and Raina 3. Raina would not share her pretzels with me, and we bought it like at Ann's Pretzels. we got her them nuggets. She would
Uh,
not give me one nugget. I was like, okay, I remember that because you always want my stuff. So when you want my stuff,
mhm.
I'm not going to give it to you. Y'all, it was probably like 2 weeks later, and she wanted some of my popcorn. I was like, oh, you want something, huh?
Run the tape back.
You remember?
I was
You
like,
remember?
you remember you wouldn't give me that pretzel? And I was like, payback. She was for real looking at me like, she probably didn't even remember. I
She
did, though.
did
And
not.
I
You
did
know
get
she
my
didn't.
popcorn.
She did. Funny. So I think that, trying to think of another good situation. Especially like, okay, kind of sticking with the same subject, but not, but also taking time to myself. Like, before I talked about like going to get my hair done, going to get my nails done, things like that. But I want to be more intentional about taking trips by myself. I know it might not be right,
Natalie,
but
what you mean? If it's
I
good for
mean,
you, it is right. What do you mean?
if that's what
I'm a
you.
natural born, like, loner. I like my space. I like to be by myself, constantly around people. So I was just thinking about this earlier. I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to just plan a trip for myself because I feel like it might be a little, it will help balance me a little bit. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure out ways to not be as stressed and understand that things happen for a reason. And I'm just trusting whatever process that's out there. But it's hard. I mean, evolution is hard. And it's not just a straight line.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
So, I'm just trying to figure that out.
I don't think I could. I would not like to travel by myself. I mean, I've done it before. You know what I mean? Like not for like days. I could do it maybe like
So
overnight,
go
like I used
Caribbean
to.
or something.
I could do it overnight, but I love companionship. I love traveling with my husband.
My husband get on my nerves.
He's like, yeah, no, by myself.
Oh, you
Girl,
need a
Like, I'm
vacation
sticking to
from
the by
him.
myself.
you know what though? Okay, so a long time. Um, being married, it's an adjustment. So, when you're trying to like redefine yourself and figure things out, a long time for me is like non-existent, and it's still rough. We've been married for almost 8 years and I still struggle with that. So, I think this is kind of why I'm saying, like, it's not just a straight line because you take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And, it's this vicious cycle of how are you going to grow through that? Because I get mad when I don't get my space down.
I
And
mean, but also you got to think too. We part of the topic was like, or what we discussed is like who you were or have been, um, before you had all these roles too. And
Mhm.
so like, Jerice, your life was just you. I mean, you and Sydney. It was really just you or you and Sydney. And then, every once in a while your friends will pull you out or I will pull you out. So I can understand why you would want some, you time because that's the time that you had when it was just you.
I think this, yeah, when I feel like me at my
Yeah.
best. And, like, okay, so kind of taking it back, we had Lauren and Logan back to back. We added, 3 kids within a short amount of time. And trying to redefine who I am, or, I won't even say redefine, really, just, grow through that was really hard too. I don't think like they're 8, 9, and 5 now. I don't think I really started to feel like my true self until like maybe a year ago.
Mm.
And I didn't realize how like depressed I was until maybe like a year, almost 2 years ago. And now that I look back at it, it's like, okay, I didn't realize how dark that was. And that's why I make it a point to try to grow through this process because I don't want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be popping out babies? No, we handle that. But there were other things, and there's a lot of things that can go on that can kind of push you back into those dark places. But being intentional about your balance and your peace, I think kind of helps me move through things and guarantees that I won't be back in that space. So I think it's just, alone time. I need to be able to meditate, feel the vibes, get my spirit going, and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Nisha, did
Like I
you
feel you. I
Yeah.
I think about being alone all the time. Like I just want to be like by myself for a little bit. And it's crazy because like my husband thinks I'm so independent. Like he's like, oh, here you go with that independent stuff, that Miss Independent. But y'all, I went to a cheerleading competition without him. It was just me and Kinley, and I almost couldn't function because I'm just used to like our team work. Like we are such a good team. And then like I got to the stuff and I was like, I gotta carry my bags by myself. Like it was just a whole bunch of stuff that I was just so used to him being there for. And I was like, dang, Kelly, we gotta carry our own bags. Like we have to do stuff that he does for us. Even with like directions, like cause I was driving and usually he would be driving and I would be saying, oh, it's a Target this way because we wanted to stop at Target and stuff like that. But I had to try to figure all that stuff out by myself while trying to drive. Wow. So it was really hard. And I was like, no, I miss my like partner. Like I miss my person that I was be doing stuff with. So it was really, when we were gone, me and Kelly were gone for like 3 days, 2-3 days. And it was long. Like it was long without him. I really missed our partnership.
When we went to Dayton and I was like, who's gonna go get my Starbucks? Like
yes, like wait a minute.
Right. So it's like that lead work. I know I would miss it, but I feel like I guess it's just something that I want to do. Not often because of those things. Like, that teamwork is something, you get used to, you get spoiled with. Like even when he's not here, I can't sleep. Like I cannot sleep. I need him right here so I can lay on it, lean back on him. Like, okay, here's my pillow, all of that. And so it's amazing to have that kind of partnership. And I'm not saying like, oh my God, I need, all kinds of space because everybody's just bothering me all the time. But I think like just to kind of decompress because we do so much. Just
the bed thing. I don't know the bed thing. I can't. I can't. Like I'd be like, yes, he's out of the bed. One time he had to go somewhere. He had to go somewhere in like early in the morning, but he ended up coming back. I don't remember where he had to go, but he left out for a little bit and then had to come back. And he came back, and I like to sleep diagonal, right, which takes up the whole bed. He came back. He was like, "Damn, you already done." And I be knocked out. Like I get my best sleep. Like if he gets up before me, and I usually have about an hour without him. That hour be my best sleep of the night. I can't wait till I'm like, oh yes, he got up. I don't know what it is.
Or no, he just has to be in the house. He doesn't, in the bed because I like to lean back. Since I fell, he's like an extra support in the bed where I feel comfortable enough to kind of lean back because he ain't gonna move. Pillows shift. He just stays right there. But I sleep good too if he's just like in the house. He just has to be in the house.
Girl. Being married is like such a state of mind. And you have to, really think about and appreciate the partnership and, not just the good stuff, but also just the regular everyday stuff. But when you start shifting your thought process, this is how I feel about it. Now, it might be different for other people. But when you start shifting your thought process to like alone trips and doing stuff by yourself, then are you really still planted into the marriage thought space, or are you starting to uproot yourself and get potted?
That's a good point because my husband's friends, they've been married for a very long time. Like they're older, and they've been married for like a long time, and they barely do things together. Like every now and then, they go on like a date or whatever. But normally he be off doing his own thing, she be off doing her own thing, and me and Daniel look at this stuff, we be like, we don't ever want to be like that. Like, oh, like, let's not get like that, okay? Like, we talk about, let's not do that. Let's not get like that where it's just like they're living separate lives, but yet still married. And like, they get together every now and then, but it's just still just too separate for us.
I don't think that.
I mean, what work for everybody not gonna work for everybody.
Right.
So I know what you're about to say, but I just want to throw that out there. That was just my thought process, and for me, I like being up under my husband, and we do everything together.
It has to do with personality too. You know, I've never been affectionate. I've never wanted to be, excuse me, under anybody like that. And don't get me wrong, I talk about how Lauren get on my nerves, but do I want life without him? No. And it's not like taking trips by myself all the time, or doing things by myself all the time. But if I had just at least one good time a year where I can just go and decompress, and the only reason why I say that is because of how my life is set up, and when I'm by myself and I can, you know, meditate and be clear, I don't hear no kids in the background, I don't hear him in the background, it helps me kind of ground myself where I could come back and be a better Jerice.
I could do something like that though, like once a year, like just a one time a year. But for me, it would have to be something silly, like it would have to be like the same date every year or something like that, because it would have to be like, you know, that this is just my week. It would have to signify like my weekend of whatever. But I probably would have to go somewhere very zen. Like it wouldn't be to a party place or whatever. It would have to be to the mountains, in a little solo cabin, something like that, where it is just quiet and
the beach. I would go and I just need to hear the water and enjoy some sunlight just for a day or so. It ain't even that long. I think that being able to just be in that individual space, it works for me sometimes, but all the time, nah. I don't want to do stuff without him like that. Because again, he gets my coffee, like, you know. So Lauren does my leg work when it comes, you know what I'm saying? Not just that. I enjoy his company. He's funny and all that good stuff. But is it a separation, like a mental step out or uprooting or anything like that? No, it's not like that. But I get it though, because some people are. That is what it is for some people. But that's not how I'm looking at this.
Okay. That makes sense.
So we're at 27 minutes and I have to finish hair. So
girl, be you. This the be you gonna be you.
I got the call of the day and I got my last final tomorrow. Hallelujah.
Good luck.
Oh my God.
Or as in the cheer community, as they would say, GOODLUCK. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck to you.
I love that you are in the cheer community like that. I love that. That's cute.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I was trying to stay my little positive whatever last week, but I was rushing and couldn't get it out. So gonna kind of try to say it again tonight. But make it a point to remind yourself that life is not a sprint. It truly is a marathon. You take your time, and it's not in a straight line either. You might go up, down, left, right, sideways, however, but just know that as long as you are progressing, you are moving in the right direction. So y'all stay positive. Peace.
And don't forget to remind everyone to follow us on all BU Room things. So everything is the BU Room, YouTube, our website, Instagram, share, follow, like.
And we miss Shameen. She's traveling. That's why she didn't join us.
Oh, yeah. Shameen, we love you.
Get here safely.
I'm trying to